Welcome to Ploughman's Backyard. My name is Kendra and today I'm taking you on an August tour of our garden. Now it may not look like a lot of your gardens. Probably you have a lot more red tomatoes than I have. Maybe you have much more zucchinis growing. Maybe you have more beans, but this is what our garden looks like. Now I will tell you, we are about 2 weeks behind of what we normally are, just because of the late start we had with all the cold weather, all the smoke. Like I mentioned in our July garden tour, but things are coming. I'm super excited. Things may be behind, but we're still getting food, and that is what's important. Not only am I giving you a tour of the garden, but we're going to be harvesting what I find. I mean, this is the part we've been waiting for. I've been taking you through all the starting of the seeds, been planting the plants, been weeding as much as I can. Obviously there's weeds still here, but anyways, I didn't want to bring you through all that and miss the harvest. We will be continuing to harvest up until we can't, up until frost, and even past frost, because I tend to cover a lot of the things I want to keep growing even when we do get frost. The garden isn't the best garden that I have had. I found these last 2 years the garden's been struggling. Now that can be a lot of factors. I have made myself way too busy this summer, and I know that. As you know, we haven't been putting out a lot of content this summer as we have in the past, but next year should be better. This winter hopefully will be better too, but I'm not going to be so busy next year. I made myself way too busy doing other things. Yeah, we've been eating a lot of things out of the garden, a lot of the chard, like it's been growing so good, and we're very happy because that's one of our favorite things to grow. The tomatoes are just starting to turn red. We're not getting many, but we've had a few and they've been very tasty. We've had a few beans so far, and I'm probably going to be picking our first zucchinis, and I'm excited about that because I love making zucchini soups and zucchini burgers. So I'm hoping to also get some recipes and some things up that show you on how we use some of these products. That's hopefully going to come as I make my zucchini burgers, which they're really good. Oh my goodness, they're so good. I love them with a nice fresh slice of tomato and a fresh slice of onion on a bread. Oh, so good. Especially the homemade bread that I make. Oh, delicious. Even though my garden's not doing like exceptionally well, I know that I'm going to have to add some amendments. So yeah, we do add compost from year to year. About every 2 years probably I add a big dump of compost into the garden, but oftentimes it needs more than that. There's amendments that you can get if you do soil testing and see what your soil's lacking, because sometimes you don't have the proper nutrients in the soil, and that's just because year after year planting your seeds and growing your food, where do you think the nutrition's coming from? It's coming from the soil. So if we are planting continually, we're going to be depleting our soil of vital nutrients and vital minerals that these plants need to grow. Also, sometimes some of these nutrients and minerals we're missing can lead to more weed growth. So getting a soil test done is really important as well, and knowing on what to put in your soil, like things like phosphorus, calphos, boron. There's lots of minerals that your soil needs to give you healthy vegetables in a thriving garden. So I think that's something that we're going to have to do again. We did it maybe about 5 years ago. We put a lot of amendments into our garden, and I think it's time to do it again. I've got my harvest bucket. Let's go see what's in the garden and what we can pick. First, we're looking at our raised beds where I did the strawberries. I threw a couple cucumber plants in here just because I needed the space, but we've got cucumbers. I'm just going to pick this beautiful looking cucumber. So this is one of our dollar store grow kit cucumbers. So it's been a slow start, but as you can see, things are coming along. So don't get discouraged. My garden didn't look too good in my July tour, especially when you're cold climate gardening. It tends to be a little later that you get your crop, but it doesn't mean you're not going to get any. Next, we have our celery, which it's grown quite a bit in the last month. As you can see here, lots of beautiful stalks of celery coming up. Look at that. So happy. Things are coming along. We've got more celery coming along here. Oh, and look at that. We've even got some peppers. And these ones are outside, and I've got more peppers in the greenhouse, which I've been picking. But there's lots of peppers finally coming. These might need to be covered because it went down to like 11 last night, which peppers really love the heat. So we're hoping and praying that we continue to get some heat for these beautiful peppers. Oh, look, we've got one on this side. Look at that. Perfect, small, but it's coming. And the herbs just keep coming. We've done about 4 cuttings of our herbs. I'm gonna have to come for like another 5th, probably in the next week. I'll have to get some more parsley picked. The dill is ready and waiting for the pickles to be done, which I'm hoping to do this week. Look at this beautiful head of cabbage. Oh man, it's beautiful. It's good size too. We got some tomatoes, as I said before. Very few red tomatoes at this point. We've got some turnip coming up. So as you can tell, the turnip has definitely grown a lot. Now I will say, this is a really sad year for my turnip. They're usually huge. I'm probably not going to get a crop at all from them. It's taken so long for them to come. So sometimes when you're cold climate gardening, it's not so much necessarily like the timing. You need to get the timing right. The timing needs to be like bang on. And I was really off on my timing this year. It is the way it is. There's a lot of other gardeners that are in the same position in this area that I am. So these are behind. Now, the nice thing about turnip is that they can go into frost. You actually need frost in order to have a nice sweet rutabaga, but they're not going to be big enough. But that's okay. So the tops are growing, and the tops, I believe you can eat them. I don't, but my chickens love them. So you know what? It's not a complete loss. I will be feeding the chickens the tops, and we'll try again next year. It's all about taking every year as it comes. And that's why we plant more than what we need. And that's why we plant a lot of different varieties of things, because some years tomatoes don't work out well, but zucchinis do. And some years beans don't work out well, but cabbages do. And vice versa, they switch. So having a good variety of different items in your garden is a nice way of making sure that you do have something to harvest. Now this is my row of beets. Again, not a great year for these root vegetables. We do eat the tops, so it's not a complete loss. So we'll be eating the tops of these beets, and the beets are so little. You know, nothing's at a complete loss because these beet tops are delicious to eat. A lot of these we won't be doing anything with. And that just comes with gardening. Every year's different. You're not the only one. If you're having years like this, you'll learn to be thankful for what is working in your garden that year. And the next year, perhaps, beets will be more successful. So this year we've had a really good lettuce harvest. These were the last lettuce that I planted, and we still have lots of lettuce going to seed. The other thing we have is our radishes. Our radishes did well. Look at the size of that radish. I'm not going to be eating that, but we are saving these radishes specifically to go to seed, so we have seed for next year. The radishes are going to seed, so they'll flower just like this, and then you'll get little pods on them. And those pods are actually edible and very tasty, or you can save the pods and collect the pod seeds for planting for next year's garden. One zucchini plant we planted here, and it is producing a huge zucchini. I guess I left this one a little bit too long. Huge zucchini. This is what you call the perfect zucchini burger zucchini. And we'll get to that eventually this year, showing you how to make zucchini burgers out of these. Delicious. We have more zucchini plants, so let's go check the rest of them out. So here are 2 more of the Black Beauty zucchini plants. As you can see, I need some weeding to happen, but nonetheless, we still got some zucchinis. Hopefully we'll get some more. We'll pick this one. The more that you pick things like zucchinis, the more you're gonna get. Anyways, it's better to pick them a bit smaller than this, but because I want to make zucchini burgers, the big ones are really great for that, and that's why I grow these Black Beauty zucchinis. There's another zucchini in here. Maybe I'll pick it to give it some life because there's another zucchini here and then one just under it. So I'm gonna pick it just so the other 2 can have the energy to grow a little bit bigger. So the tomato patch is not doing well this year. We have not had enough heat this year to really make these tomatoes grow to their full potential. It's really sad. Usually I stake my tomatoes. As you can see, this year I didn't because they just weren't growing. However, we are still getting lots of tomatoes. So we really haven't had the heat this year to really make these ripen up So I've been picking them just a little bit. I mean, this one's pretty good, but I've been picking them a little bit more on the yellow side and taking them in, and they seem to ripen up okay. Typically, I love to pick them when they're red on the vine, but we're just not having that good heat that we need. So I'm just going to go through and find the best and see what we can get. I'm hoping we're going to have some nice tomatoes this year. They're just taking a while to really get going. One crop that really has not let us down is the Swiss chard. My favorite, the rainbow Swiss chard. We've been coming and picking a lot every day, just eating a ton of this beautiful stuff. It's so vibrant. Oh man, it's so good. Again, we have more zucchinis. These are the gray zucchinis, another really nice variety to grow. We love to roast these. They're really good roasted or in the stir fry. The next zucchini that we love growing, and this one is specifically for my daughter for soups, is the yellow fin. I want this bigger, so I'm going to leave it. 2 more plants of these, and we eat a lot of these in the winter. Nice creamy zucchini soup. Oh. Anyways, they're coming along, so we're just going to let those be. We want them to get bigger. The next on our list is beans. Oh man, we can't have enough beans. And the Royal Burgundy bush bean are my favorite. We love these things so much, so we put a lot away in the freezer, plus I can these beans. They're actually a green bean, but they're purple. But when you cook them and they turn green, they're just about ready and done. Or you can eat them raw. Anyways, beans are one of the things that I love to look forward to in the summer, in our summer garden. Lots of beans. I'm going to be picking them. Loads and loads of beans. Now, usually I'm actually canning beans at this time, but these are about 2 weeks behind. But these will do well for the next little while. There's still lots coming, and I'm going to go through and pick them. We've had beans for supper a few nights already, but this is going to probably be my big harvest, my first big harvest anyway. And then I always save some of the plants. I usually save maybe like 4 or 5 plants just for seed for next year's crop. This year I only planted the one variety. Usually I plant a few different, but these are old seeds, so I wanted to get rid of these and get some fresh seeds for next year. The next thing is coming along is our onions. Oh, onions are just so good. So we've actually found that the onions that we grow last a long time throughout winter. I will continue to grow lots of onions. They last, I want to say right up till April or May. We were using our onions and I just had them in a big bowl on the counter and they did really well. And so tasty, especially the red ones. I found the red ones lasted a little longer than the yellow variety that I was growing. One thing that's done really well this year is our apple trees, the ones that we planted ourselves. So these are our apples. I want to say they're a Wolf River apple. We have never had such a harvest as this. Oh man, you can smell them. So here is one of our, I think it's kabocha squash that I planted, one of the seeds. It has not done well in this location. It's got its first flower, lots of flowers coming. I do not see this producing anything. This little thing is barely surviving. But I did plant these in another location and they're doing really well. So I'll show you what that looks like. Blueberries are still doing well. Oh man. I love fresh blueberries from the garden. Nothing like a fresh blueberry. I love being able to come out and just like pick things that you planted. It's so rewarding. Don't mind if I stop here and have a little snack during the video, do you? So this here is normally our corn bed, and because it was so late in the year and the soil really never got hot enough to be able to germinate the corn seeds, I went ahead and sowed a bunch of squash. Now I'm super happy I did, because you've seen the other one in the other location, it was not doing well. So this is also the kabocha squash, the winter squash. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we should get a good harvest out of some of these. And then again, like we haven't been planting, like this one, this particular garden's only been around for maybe 3 years. the soil hasn't been depleted because we haven't been using it so much. So it's a good idea to rotate your gardens. Even resting your garden a year or two is not a bad idea if you have the space to do it, just to help replenish the nutrients and minerals in your garden, so that you can get good thriving plants that produce good food for you. So just the fact that we planted these here has really increased our chance of getting squash this year. Perfect, there it is right here. This is probably our largest. It's vining out onto our grass. Got one growing there. I'm sure there's one growing right here because this plant is just, oh yeah, there's one. There's a few. Anyways, it looks like we're gonna get some of a crop, maybe not huge. Then we just threw some leftover potatoes into there that we didn't have room for. And here is our potato patch. It's quite large. It goes right back to there. So last year we got about 200 pounds of potatoes just out of this patch. And what I did last year, we had a lot of green potatoes just because I didn't have time to hill. And so what I did this year is I planted all the green ones, and they're growing really well. So we'll be collecting the potatoes and eating them as we can. Plus we're going to have some to put away for winter and some more for seeds for next year so that we don't have to buy potato seeds. Sweet banana peppers. We've been love having these banana peppers in our salads actually. So there's lots coming on. They're not quite ready to be picked yet. We've got more coming on here. Our jalapenos are coming along, still a little bit small, but they're coming. These are in the greenhouse, so they should do okay yet. But we do have quite a bit coming. There's maybe about 6 or 8 total on this plant. We've got some more sweet bananas. Looks like we got a nice jalapeno just about ready to pick. And we got some more jalapenos coming. Just in time for salsa season. And this here is actually our sweet pepper that we got from the dollar store grow kit. Planted it in the greenhouse. It's doing okay. It hasn't come along very far, but it is growing. Good size sweet banana pepper. I was totally afraid to try these because I thought I've had some that are actually really, really hot, but these ones are really sweet. A really nice variety to grow. If you can't finish off, like say a bell pepper, this is a great alternative because I think that it just takes a lot less time to get to maturity. So I'm gonna go, and I think I'll be making a salad with this and some nice tomatoes and cucumbers right out of the garden. So another thing that's growing well is our grapes this year. We got lots of grapes coming on, and our grape patch is very large. So we have a few different varieties of grapes. These ones here are a bit larger than the last ones, but still really looking forward to having some of these fresh off the vine. More grapes coming. And I'm really looking forward to trying these. These look really nice. Some more coming along there really nicely. Well, that pretty much sums up August's garden tour. I will do another garden tour in September. The reason being is I know the majority of people are basically doing a brunt of their harvest right now in August. I do the brunt of mine the end of August and early September. The reason being, again, we are a cold climate area, so our crops tend to be a week to 2 weeks behind most people. As you can see, things are coming along slowly but surely. Hoping I'm going to get some tomatoes. I'd be surprised if I got a good crop of tomatoes this year. I'm really not thinking that's going to happen. I'm going to be heading probably to a farmer's market or a local grower, and I'll be getting some tomatoes to get into the canner. Gardening can take practice, a lot of lessons, a lot of trial and error. One, because you're not only depending on your ability to grow something, but you're depending on the weather, the environment around you, plus your conditions of your soil. There are a lot of factors at play when it comes to gardening, and don't think that because your garden isn't doing well that it's your fault and that you do not have a green thumb. And once you get the hang and skill of knowing those factors and being able to work with them and around them, I guarantee you'll have a green thumb. So till next time, take care and watch out for our next garden tour in September. Plus, don't forget to check out our Every Bit Gets Counts challenge of what we're putting away for this winter.